Hey y'all, it's the Country Notary. Hope you're having a great day. As always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. So, another day in the life of a mobile notary loan signing agent. I had 3 appointments today, and all 3 of those appointments basically are on hold or canceled or rescheduled. And I'm going to talk about each one individually because each has its own uniqueness. Yesterday I had a Texas cash out home equity loan, and we signed in the law firm that I work at, where I conduct my home equity loans, my Texas cash outs. This appointment involved a borrower who was recently divorced. He was refinancing as well as getting the deed and all the documents re-recorded in his own name, etc. He had already gotten the divorce done and came to an agreement with his ex-wife on the settlement amount that he would pay her for the property. So all of that was kind of involved in the refinance yesterday, which was my first one of that type. And basically, it was a rather large package, 178 pages. The last 2 pages of the document had a couple of pages where the ex-wife and the husband had to sign, and it basically had a statement about the amount of equity that she was expecting to receive from the property. There were no instructions from the title company, from the signing service regarding signing that document. And as it turns out, of course, she was not present at the appointment. And all of our messaging back and forth with the borrower, not once did he mention that she was to be present at the signing. Her name did not appear on any of the previous 176 pages. This appointment was also a little sad and unfortunate because it had been canceled and rescheduled, I think 4 different times, literally, including on Friday, the previous Friday. We signed on a Monday. The previous Friday, it was scheduled, and the signing service the signing service suggested an appointment time where I actually had an appointment scheduled at that same time. It just so happened I had an appointment scheduled at 4 o'clock and at 5:30 on Friday, and I just assumed it would be assigned to another loan signing agent. However, they quickly emailed me back and asked me, or called me back. Actually, they called me several times that day. It was very, very random and sporadic, and called me back and said, okay, well, we can reschedule to Monday if you're available on Monday at 4. Said, sure. Usually in those situations, that appointment would have just been assigned to another, or put back into the system for another notary to accept it. So met with the borrower Monday, went through the closing, and those last 2 pages we all talked and pondered about. He brought his dad with him. We pondered about what to do with those last 2 documents. I called the signing service, no answer. Called the signing service multiple times, and it kept going to voicemail. So there's no contact for the title company. So I made an executive decision to overnight mail the documents back to the title company, and I kept those last 2 pages, which was basically, again, a 2-page release of equity statement, was release of equity, something to that effect. Kept those last 2 pages, and what I decided to do would meet the ex-wife today, have her sign, notarize her signature, and then I would scan them back and email them back to the signing service, since they would not answer the phone. Scan and email back to the title company, actually to the signing service, and then they would forward to the title company since nobody would answer the phone. Met with the ex-wife after I got off from my 9 to 5 today, and she was very willing to sign the document, but there was some confusion over what to fill in the blanks where it was indicating that an amount of money was owed to her. So basically, part of the divorce, her and her husband had agreed that she would receive a cash portion of the house. He wasn't selling the house. She would receive a cash proceed of the house because he was refinancing it. So instead of selling it, which I'm assuming that would be a traditional way of splitting up the money, he refinanced the house and she would receive the proceeds from the equity. And it all made sense afterwards, but at the time, the husband was confused, the ex-wife was confused, of course I was confused, the signing service didn't answer the phone, so she agreed to sign the document, and in the blank square it indicated a dollar amount. Initially she put 0, but then she thought about it, no, this has to be the document where I fill in the amount that they promised to give me. And so then I said, okay, so what we'll do then, we'll draw a line through your old entry, initial next to the line out, and then print the dollar amount that you agreed upon above your lined out amount, the original amount that you filled in, which we put a 0. And so she did that, and I said, before I send this in, I'm gonna try to reach them again, and if I have to come out here with another document, I'll do so. And you know, basically I'm doing this on my own dime because I'm not charging her. I had already been paid my fee from the closing. So right before we finished up, we were still kind of going back and forth, discussing, trying to figure out if she had filled this out correctly. She goes, oh, they had sent me something prior and I signed it and I took a picture of it. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. So she took out her phone, found the text message or email and clicked on it, opened the image, and as it turns out, it was the exact same document that I had driven out for her to sign today, moments ago. Exact same document. She had signed it, the ex-husband had signed it, and the amount of the settlement that she was owed was filled in as well, and it was notarized. I said, oh, this is a duplicate. And you know, I guess the message here for notaries, new notaries, sometimes things happen like this. Sometimes there's duplicates in forms, in document sets that have already been signed, and basically these documents travel with the closing documents. These forms travel with the closing documents, and it appears that this document had already been printed, previously agreed upon, signed by both parties, and included in the closing package, although it had already been signed. The signed copy was not included, but the original blank copies had been included. So basically, speaking of blank, I made a blank trip out there for nothing. And so I, you know, basically told her, I guess we just wasted, you know, 15 minutes of our life because these documents had already been signed. And she was a little bit relieved as well because she was concerned that she wasn't getting her settlement. But I said, well, no, because you obviously have a picture of it on your phone and it's been signed and notarized. So I basically apologized to her for the confusion because, you know, at that point, I didn't know any better. I had no way of knowing. There were no instructions. And as I mentioned, the signing service, who I will not name, didn't pick up and answer the phone. Okay, the only good news in this story is that the signing fee for this closing was $125, plus the fee that I paid to the law firm. So $175 was the fee, 50 of that goes to the law firm. Okay, alrighty, so moving on. I had a property tax loan closing scheduled for today, which was another unusual one. I received the order yesterday afternoon. I called the signer. We confirmed the appointment for today, and during the conversation he goes, well, I tried to tell the loan officer that I wouldn't be ready for tomorrow because I have to get the cashier's check and I won't have the cashier's check till Friday. I said, oh, well, they didn't tell me anything about a cashier's check, sir. I've done quite a few of these property tax loan closings before, and I've never, not once have I ever picked up any funds, ever have I picked up a check. I said, I'm pretty sure that we will sign the documents tomorrow, scan them and email them like I normally do, FedEx them back to the loan company, and they will contact you regarding the payment. Because I literally have done probably 100 of those loans, and I've never once picked up a check. I was so confident, so sure. However, I was wrong. So I went into the went on to the portal today to print the documents, and surely the first page of the document looked a little odd. It said something about funds required to proceed to closing, and it had a dollar amount, and it was the same form as always, but there was a dollar amount and a check, you know, cashier's check to be collected, blah blah blah. So I emailed my contact, the assigner, and asked her, you know, just to make sure, am I supposed to be picking up a cashier's check from this borrower today? And a short few moments later, she responded, yes, please do so, thank you. And I responded back to her, well, I should have been a little bit more clear in my first email. The borrower indicated that he would not have a cashier's check until Friday. Would you like me to proceed with the closing today or reschedule to Friday? And it took a little while. I think she probably had to go and inquire with the loan officer. She got back to me several minutes later and said, no, the loan officer will contact him and reschedule with him, I'm assuming once he verified when the funds were available. Mind you, the borrower told me when I spoke to him on the phone that he told his loan officer that he would not have the cashier's check until Friday. There's an underlying theme here, the communication between all the parties involved in putting together closing packages may not always be consistent, and I've seen this several times. In the past, I've been able to troubleshoot and problem solve and, you know, get things resolved. I guess technically I did problem solve and troubleshoot today. In the second appointment, I was able to problem solve it and troubleshoot it before I drove out to the borrower's home. In the first scenario, sadly, we didn't figure it out until I got there in person. And then for my third one, had a final appointment. I'm at work today. I received an email. It was from SnapDocs, and it said something about a correction to a signing. And you know, of course, you hate those. You don't want to see those. So I pull it up, and it was from the 22nd, which was a week ago. So I'm looking at it, and it appears that this particular owner, I actually talked about this in a video, is a business owner. And it appears that, based on the way it was worded, that on the deed of trust, the title company wanted him to sign his name as managing member of the name of the LLC. As managing member of the LLC. There was nothing in any of the instructions. Otherwise, we signed all other 40 signatures as his first and last name. But it appeared that they wanted him to re-sign the deed of trust. And then it was 3 or 4 messages in a row to me, like 5 minutes apart. Urgent 2, urgent 3, please respond. So I messaged them back through SnapDocs, and there was no response. I messaged them back again, and then finally someone messaged me back and basically restated what I had previously asked. It basically restated my same question back to me, and I'm like, well, this doesn't answer the question. You're just restating the question that I already asked. So I basically, typed a nice response. I need more clarification. Is this message for the notary, or is it for someone else in the process? Please give me a call. And I typed my phone number, because after reading it again, it didn't appear that the message was for the notary. And this is not the first time this has happened. At least once before, a few months ago, there was a message on a previous signing in SnapDocs. The signing service, for some reason, assumed it was the notary, myself, that the message was intended for. But upon further research, it was a message. Something had to be corrected in the process, but it wasn't intended for the notary. It was for someone else in the titling process. So right now it's about 4:45 in the afternoon, and my last message to them was around an hour and a half ago, around 3:15. And my message basically stated, if this message is for the notary, please give me a call for further clarification. And at this point, I hadn't heard anything back. So I re-messaged, text the borrower, the original signer and let him know that I'm not quite sure that message was for me to have you re-sign. I'm waiting for further clarification. Once I hear back from title company, I will give you an update. And he said, okay. 3 appointments, basically 3 cancellations, or 1 trip was made in error, and then the second one, the property tax loan, will more than likely be rescheduled to a future date. I'm guessing Friday, when the borrower has the cashier's check in hand. And then finally, again, we have a re-sign that may have not been a re-sign because the title, the messaging may have not been for the notary. I'm guessing someone in the title process more than likely didn't add the correct verbiage to the deed. And once they do so, they'll probably send out a new deed, and some notary or myself will meet the borrower and have them re-sign that deed, if that's the case, because again, I've asked for further clarification. So to make a long story short, as I'm driving and talking, guys, and I've talked about this in previous videos, always read and triple read the instructions from the title company. Make sure you understand fully the instructions before you proceed with the appointment. If you have any questions, always call, message them back to get further clarification. The sad part, most of the time, there is no phone number in the signing services portal for the title company. There's no name or phone number to contact. So in this case, all of the documents had already been sent, and I didn't have a contact in which to call. So we're messaging back and forth through SnapDocs, which wasn't very effective, because I don't think people just pick up those messages when they. I don't think those messages come across individuals' phones or emails like they do in our cases, because we receive notifications. There is a strong chance that message wasn't intended for me. And as I stated, I had already sent the documents back a week prior, so I didn't have any way to thumb through the documents to find a contact for the title company and do more research to find a live person who may have been able to explain what the original message was about. Always read the instructions carefully and fully before you take off to your appointment. And in the event that you do have to troubleshoot, good communication skills, follow up, and try to find a contact, somebody that might be able to help you clarify the instructions. These things do happen. You may or may not get paid for the extra trip. I made a trip out to this ex-wife's house today, just out as a gratuity, because I assumed they needed her signature, and as it turned out, they had already signed that document. No problem. It's kind of part of the process. Obviously, we are the last person on the totem pole when it comes to getting documents signed. So if documents have to be re-signed, or if there's a mistake or a correction or clarification, the notary obviously has to go out and get that document corrected or re-signed. And if it's not something that we mistakenly did, yes, you would be entitled to a trip fee if you were required to go out and get a document re-signed that wasn't that was signed incorrectly. Okay, and I've kind of babbled on. I'm pulling up to my location now. I hope this video provided you with some insight, information. If you have any questions about things of this nature, please reach out to me through email. I'd be happy to talk with you further. It's a Country Notary. Y'all have a great day.